to my channel. My name is Alex K. I'm a kettlebell expert, and today I'm going to be teaching you a few funky ways in which you can use the kettlebell if you've already started to work out with this incredible tool, but you're not quite proficient at kettlebell specific exercises yet. So the first one I'm going to show you is called the halo. So I'm going to pick up the kettlebell, turn it upside down, and hold onto the horns of the kettlebell. From this position, I'm going to lift my right elbow, take the kettlebell around my head and back to my starting position. Then I'm going to lift my left elbow, take the kettlebell around in the other direction and back to that starting position. So I will keep alternating directions going around my head. This is a great mobility exercise. I consider it a mobility exercise primarily. Think of it as a loaded mobility exercise. Loaded because we're using a weight to assist us. But it's not primarily a strength exercise. If you are very strong, you could probably use quite a heavy kettlebell for this exercise. But I would say stick with something that's a little on the lighter side to start with. Feel your way through the exercise. Now, what you want to do is have some depth behind your head. That's where the magic lies in improving your mobility for this particular exercise. If I was just to take it around the top of my head, above my head, I'm not really getting that full stretch into my shoulders and into my triceps that I'm looking for. So remember, some depth behind your head. You want to keep the kettlebell as low as possible. Yes, your arms are going to go up, but you want that kettlebell to be low behind your head in order to feel that stretch and get that wonderful mobility into your shoulders, get that great tricep stretch. So the next exercise that I'm going to show you, another little funky exercise. I originally learned this exercise from Anthony DeLulio, and he taught it as a hot potato. Okay, a hot potato, if you're catching a hot potato, it's hot, so you let go with one hand, you catch it in the other hand, you let go with one hand, you catch it in the other hand, because it's too hot to hold, right? So you get the idea, it's a hot potato. However, if you're performing exercises where you release the kettlebell from your grip and re-catch that kettlebell, there's an element of risk there. You had to be careful for your own safety, for the safety of others around you, and for the safety of the equipment, the floor, anything else that is around you. If you drop the kettlebell, it's going to create a mess. So I devised a version of this exercise which I refer to as the sticky potato. So my kettlebell position is going to be with the handle resting in between my wrists. Both hands on the kettlebell, handle is in between my wrists. And I'm going to shift my weight over to my right side, effectively putting my elbow into or onto my hip. Both hands are still on the kettlebell. I'll shift my weight to the opposite side, and I'm creating a straight line down from the kettlebell, through my forearm, into my hip, down through my leg, into the floor. So right side, left side. So I'm coming up slightly as I come across and down to the other side. If I exaggerate that movement, up and down, up and down. I'm exaggerating the movement. It isn't really as big as this, but this is what it is in effect. So if I perform it, the benefit I'm getting from this exercise is getting used to shifting my weight and shifting the weight of the kettlebell. Also getting used to this rack position, which is very important if you stick with kettlebells for later on. So the hot potato version is the same thing with a release. Now it becomes obvious why I want the handle this way. The other way, I'm probably not going to catch the kettlebell. Plus, I can actually rest the handle against the inside of my wrist, which gives me more surface area contact with the kettlebell, makes it easier to control. So there's my hot potato. As I said before, with any exercise where you're releasing the kettlebell, there is a risk element. Be very careful. Be aware of your surroundings. Be aware of sweaty hands, as well, because that can be an additional risk. Okay. The last exercise in this quick video is going to be the slingshot. So it's an around the body pass with the kettlebell. You might consider that there's a release element here as you pass the kettlebell from one hand to the other. However, I can pass the kettlebell into the opposite hand. I'm still holding on with my left hand, my right hand grasps, and then my left hand lets go. So technically, the kettlebell is never in the air on its own. I've always got grip on it. So that's my pass around the front. The pass around the back is exactly the same. So if I turn around, you can see that pass. Doesn't matter which direction I go in. Now at the moment I'm performing this exercise with my legs apart, but I really don't want to do that. I can do that if that's where I need to start. But as soon as I can, I want to bring the feet together. The reason why I do that is I want to create a single point where I'm balancing. This is primarily a core exercise. The weight is trying to pull me off balance, and I'm engaging through my core to maintain my balance in that single spot. So here I'm very grounded. It's unlikely that the kettlebell is going to pull me out of position. Here, I had to work harder to maintain that position. The heavier the kettlebell, the harder it's going to be, the more risk there is. It's also a grip exercise. So as the kettlebell is swinging around, it creates a centrifugal force, which means that the effect on my grip is more than whatever the kettlebell actually weighs. If you want to challenge yourself a little bit further, take one foot off the ground and create an even smaller surface area on which to balance. And there is your slingshot. So a few funky exercises to do. You've got the halo around the head, fantastic for shoulder mobility, for stretching out those triceps. It's going to improve your overhead work, I promise you. You've got the sticky potato, place to start, move on to the hot potato, and you have the slingshot and around the body pass. So there's some funky exercises for you to try. Stick with this series of videos, and we're going to move on to some more kettlebell specific work in the next couple of videos. See you there.